Welcome to another episode of Bird Gang Nation Sports Talk. I'm your host, Bird Gang 31. Today, Nation, we got another very special guest in the house. It's my girl, Ruth the Truth. How you doing today, girl?
Hey, what's up? It's Happy Hump Day. It's a Wednesday. Great evening here in Tampa Bay, and I'm happy to be back on the show.
Tampa Bay.
Let's
We definitely done
go.
a lot of shows. We did a couple last year, and I had to get you back on here and talk about your two teams. Because Ruth is, she works for Tampa Bay, but she is a Cowboy fan at heart. At least one of the teams are relevant. One of them recently. So
Oh, here
um,
we go.
we're gonna get into it for sure today. But go ahead and tell me how was the off season for both teams. Give me your you know journalist side of it with Tampa Bay, and then go ahead and tell me how you feel about your Cowboys.
Well, of course, training camp was a whole roller coaster with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, a lot of hoopla about Tom Brady taking this 11-day hiatus, stepping away from the team. It seemed like it was already planned. We spoke to Todd Bowles all throughout training camp, and he seemed to be on the same page, whatever page that might have been between him and Tom Brady. But they had a great draft. They definitely filled in some spots that were going to be missing coming into this season with Rob Gronkowski deciding to hang up the cleats. We went and got Cade Oden as one of the tight ends to fill in for that spot. And we definitely just been kind of preparing for the worst. And we talked to the general manager for the Tampa Bay Bucs a few times in the offseason, and he just talked about them not wanting to find themselves in the similar position that they found themselves last season when they were up against the Los Angeles Rams, who went on to win the Super Bowl. They just didn't have depth in that wide receiver room, and that's something that they wanted to solve in the offseason. So I think the Bucs did a pretty good job in that aspect when it came to filling those voids. We'll definitely get more deep into that, but the Dallas Cowboys, on the other hand, not that great of an offseason. If you were to ask me if I were to give it a grade, I would say a C minus. Uh,
Nice.
yeah, I mean, I got to keep it real with the Dallas Cowboys. They've been one of those thorns in my side for quite some time, even though I love the star. But it's just, I don't even know where to start. Obviously, there's been a lot of question marks in that running back room with Ezekiel Elliott and him not being to the standards that he put himself in 2017. But we lost Randy Gregory in the offseason. He just
Mm-hmm.
completely took a side swipe in the team. That was definitely unexpected. We just lost Tyron Smith
No.
like a week ago, which is one of the most important parts of our offensive line. And I mean, Amari Cooper decided to
No.
leave as well, and it's just been like, where's everybody going? Like
Collins gone.
we decided to pay Dak all this money, and then we don't have him. We don't have the offensive weapons to put around him, so that's just kind of a head scratcher for me. I don't feel comfortable making CeeDee Lamb the number one wide receiver in our room right now for the Dallas
Thank
Cowboys.
you.
I
Thank
love
you.
CD.
Finally,
I
someone
really
said
do,
that.
but I don't want to put the pressure on the kid. I really don't. He's going into his sophomore season. There's no need to put so much pressure on those very, very skinny limbs. He has a lot of growing to do. So, yeah, just there's a lot of question marks. And we having the Bucs and the Dallas Cowboys play in week 1. Do you guys remember what happened last season? Dak Prescott was coming back from injury, and we all thought that there was going to be a hiccup for Dak. Like, oh, he's just coming back. We're not sure what kind of physicality he's bringing to the field on his first game back, but it ended up being a shootout. But the Dallas Cowboys cannot close in close games at the end. So we'll see what
Whose
happens.
fault was it last year? That last play, was it on Romo or the ref? Who you going? What side did you? I think it was Romo's fault. He should know the rules. He should have put the ball where it needed.
Romo?
Not Romo. Prescott. I can't.
Uh, I want to call it the Brady effect. I think it was definitely a push off when he made that deep pass to Chris Godwin that put them in field goal position for them to score that 3 points that put them above the Dallas Cowboys. But I mean, I was actually at that game, physically at that game at Raymond James Stadium where the Bucs play, and I'm all decked out in my Cowboys gear, and I'm sitting on the Bucs side, which I'm getting plenty of back and forth with these fans. But they were pretty scared. They were definitely shaking in their boots late in the fourth quarter. But defensively, we just couldn't get it done. Trevon Diggs, I freaking love him, but he's one of those cornerbacks and safeties that once he gives up, it's like he either eats or the wide receiver that he's defending is going to eat. And we saw that happen during that game in week 1, but we'll see how things shake out this year, because we're looking at a whole new offensive line for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, there's been so much talk about the injuries that they've sustained. Aaron Stinney just got hurt as well, which was another veteran piece when it came to the protection of Tom Brady. And we all know that Brady does not like getting pressured, especially up the middle. So big question marks for both sides of the ball in week 1. But all I know is the Dallas Cowboys are going to own the Philadelphia Eagles throughout the season, just like they did last year.
Which season is that you're talking about? Have you not seen the Philadelphia Eagles? Since you out here grading teams, go ahead and give the Eagles their grade. Have you seen what we've done this offseason?
I mean, yes, you guys had a really great draft. I will give you that. When it came to the Eagles the draft, I would give them an A-. When it came to the Dallas Cowboys, I felt like they were drafting players that, I don't know, that we had a really big problem when it came to penalties, especially on that offensive and defensive line for the Dallas Cowboys. Mm-hmm. And we ended up picking up some players that are known for causing penalties. So that was kind of a wishy-washy for me, but I give the Philadelphia Eagles an A-. You got some help for Jalen Hurts. So I want to see how things are going to really turn out for him, because I feel like when it comes to the pressure of all the teams in the NFC East, I really think that Jalen Hurts in that quarterback room has the most pressure out of all.
I think he has the least pressure at all.
Really?
His pressure season was last year. You know what I'm saying? Like, he played 4 games a year before that. Everybody's like, can he be our starter? You know what I'm saying? Is he good enough to play? He went out last year, only player, ever as a quarterback in their first 20 games to have 4,000 yards passing, 1,000 yards rushing. Ever. Player. And football's been around for a long time. He's the only one. He's a Pro Bowl alternate. Fantasy player of the year. I know that doesn't matter too much, but you know what I'm saying? He put up big numbers to be in a new offense with a new head coach, first-time play caller. We had a lot of young pieces on offense. Devontae Smith was a rookie. Quez Watkins, second year. Jalen Reagor bummed out second year. Dallas Goedert still trying to get out of Zach Ertz's shadow. We had Brooks and Seumalo get hurt early in the season. Those are a lot of big things. The coach didn't run the ball for 6 games. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are things that can affect the quarterback's play. How many drops, touchdowns did we have? Drop passes did we have in general, and touchdowns called back? Like, those are a lot of, like, a rookie first year. Everybody's just so young together, learning the system together. I just feel like, it was really good to win 9 games with that. You know what I'm saying? We won with 9 games. We went to the playoffs. You can't really complain. Like you've seen, he does need growth, but you also seen Jalen Hurts have some of the most electrifying plays all year long. That Saints run got to be the best run of all year for anybody, running back, quarterback, receiver, anybody running the football. That run was amazing. He made a lot of big time plays. So, I think it was good for the first year. He's coming back into a system that he's never been in the same system 2 years ever. So it's like that. People,
I think starting in his high school career, he's never had.
When his dad was his coach. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's a huge thing. Like, people don't understand. If you win every single season, back to back, new offense, new person telling you the offense, that would suck. But for him, his career, even though doing that, he's elevated his game every single year in, year out, from high school to college on to the pros. So I really feel like Jalen Hurts is going to be an MVP candidate. Like, he's going to be that good this year, and it's less pressure on him because of the weapons he has around him. That A.J. Brown pickup, is his best friend of all time. He's a kid's godparent. A.J.'s kid's godfather. You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys are close. A.J.'s a Pro Bowl receiver, already established in the league. He does a lot with a lot less targets, and he was on one of the most running football teams ever, in the Tennessee Titans. So, he can run block. That's going to help our offense. We're the number 1 rushing team. He's going to help with that run block. And plus, he takes pressure off of Smitty. Smitty was getting open against starters and double team last year, and now you're giving Smitty to the second cornerback. you're not even putting your starter on him no more because you got to respect AJ. He's going to eat them all up. He's going to carve them up. Now you're pushing Quest, who had 700 plus yards, to the third receiver. He's going to have third corners and safeties and linebackers trying to catch him. That's not even fair. I think this team, Dallas Goedert, a whole year starting. Those are just things that I don't even think people understand. Like, that's why it's going to be less pressure. Really, the pickup of AJ Brown, and if Miles Sanders can stay healthy and actually be that running back that we know he can be. He still hasn't. He hasn't lost my faith yet. I still believe. We didn't use him right for about 2 years. Last year he kind of flamed out, but I think he understands it. I heard him talking, and he understands the doubters are out there, and he wants to prove everybody, prove them all wrong. And I think he can. I think he could be a top 10 back in the league. You give him the ball long enough. So yeah, see how that one works though. And then our defense, I didn't even talk. That was all offense. I didn't talk to you about the 6 new starters we got on defense: Nakobe Dean, Kaiser White, Jordan Davis. We got Bradbury. We got Chauncey Jones Gardner, Chauncey Gardner Johnson. We just got, we got a lot of big name pieces that we added to this defense that was already, 10th last year overall. We weren't number 1, but we were 10th. And that was good. You add that to a 10th ranked defense. Maybe Gannon blitz a little bit more this year. You got a dominating defense. We're number 1 in a lot of areas, I say, and not just the NFC East. I think inside the league, like, you name another team as deep as the Eagles. I don't know any teams that, receiver 4 deep, running back 3 good ones. You know what I'm saying? Like, number 1 offensive line, number 1 defensive line, I believe. 3 cornerbacks. Maddox, Bradbury, and Big Play Slay all have good seasons. 2 of them been in the Pro Bowl, and now you got Chauncey Gardner Jr. or Johnson. We just picked up yesterday. He's on the team. He's a stud. And he's gonna be playing safety for us with a young stud like Mike Epps. The sky's the limit for this Eagles team. I think it's come down to the coaching and how they coach these players. Can they handle having this much talent on their roster? And I think last year, Howie told them, hey, this is what you got. If you can show me you can win football games, we can maybe even make it to the playoffs or something, then I'll reward you the next year, and I'll go get all the players you need to really ball out. I think they went all in this offseason.
And I really don't think the Philadelphia Eagles were favored to make it to the playoffs last season. So I think you guys ended up
6 games.
You ended up getting a little unlucky with going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the first round. So it was definitely a tough one for you guys to swallow, but we'll see how the team bounces back from that. I mean, it's always great to have all those young studs that you just mentioned get a little bit of playoff experience. So the Philadelphia Eagles are favored to win the NFC East, and I cannot be 100% angry at that. There are a lot of points that, of course, that you just mentioned that will definitely put them in the top tier in the NFC least, going against the Commanders as well as the Dallas Cowboys and the Giants, who seem to be making a little bit of improvements as well. But I mean,
how are they going to call it the NFC least anymore? And I really don't even like the fact that we all went along with the media and start calling ourselves the NFC least. But yes, you had a couple of down seasons. That's football. Every team that had ups and downs throughout the year. We used to be the best, and we're the only division that everybody in the division got a Super Bowl.
Exactly. That's why
when the 4 teams, no matter what year it is.
That's why when the 4 teams were actually struggling, it kind of caught on because we've been such a complete powerhouse in the NFL for so long that when all 4 teams were actually struggling, and if you don't remember, there was one season that all of us were under 500 for a consistent amount of time during the NFL regular season. So I kind of understand why the media tacked on that nickname, and it was quite creative, and it kind of it brought like realization to what was really going on in the regular season for the Dallas Cowboys, the Giants, and the Philadelphia Eagles. So I understand why you don't want to call them that or call the division that, but at one point they kind of deserved it.
Yeah, they did. I'm not saying that like that. All of us that year, we were 4 and 12. Like Giants were like 1 or 2 games, and Washington was like 3 games, 4 games, and the Cowboys were like 8 games or something like that.
But now we've turned a new leaf. You're right.
Yeah, I think every team's gotten better. Like the Giants, for real, behind the Jets, had one of the best drafts. I think. I like a lot of players and talent that the Giants got on there. Their only problem is they got a quarterback named Danny Food Stamps, who's not worth $1. You
He
know,
was
they,
looking okay during the preseason. He
man, he
had some
sucks.
deep ball
You don't
connections that
just
I was kind of like, "Oh,
you don't just
Danny, I see you."
automatically get good. You
There
know
was
what
a
I'm
lot of
saying?
there was also a lot of drop balls for Danny Dimes as well. That definitely didn't help his case early in the preseason. So I think the Giants are at least I would be it would be safe to say that I think the Giants are going to have a more successful season with Saquon Barkley returning, with Daniel Jones understanding that his job is on the line is probably going to put them above the Commanders in the NFC East.
Ooh, that's good. That's a hot take. So you
Yeah.
don't believe in Carson at all? That's
I
why I
haven't
got
been
the
a fan of
Commanders
Carson
over
for
him. 'Cause I
quite some
think Carson. I
time.
don't think he's great, but I think he's better
I
than them.
think Carson is going to continue to be a journeyman. I think the Washington Commanders were just looking for a bandage to plug the wound, and Carson Wentz didn't have much success with Frank Wright over there in Indianapolis when everybody was kind of like, okay, this is his chance, his MVP season. He had his offense being run by Frank Wright. He's going to rejuvenate his career. He's coming off of this injury. Nothing's stopping him. We're giving him a great run game. We're having a pretty efficient offensive line, a pretty good defense. We'll see. And then the Colts didn't even make it to the playoffs. So it was kind of like, I can't believe in Carson as much as I would like to. It's kind of tough.
Even though they say they gave him he's got the best weapons he's ever had. Which I argue that because I'm like, well, you had one of the number one backs last year. You know what I'm saying? Like you had Jonathan Taylor, and you had a couple other running backs over there. Then you had, Pittman Jr. is pretty good. I know Ty is kind of at the end of his career, but you had some weapons over there. It wasn't like you had nothing. But Scary Terry is probably the best receiver he's thrown to. I don't know. I just feel like Carson's, like you said, he's gonna be Carson's like last year. If you take away him bombing the last two games, the last game particularly against the Jags, you go to the playoffs, you win the game. You're supposed to go to the playoffs. You have a better team. You go out there and bomb the game, even though it takes the team to bomb. You bomb big time, Carson. And I think he kind of choked up in that Ravens game, even though it was a shootout. And I think Carson kind of showed a little Carson S in that game. But other than that, like the rest of the season wasn't that bad. You know what I'm saying? Like he had some decent numbers last year, but like you're right. It's just Carson being Carson. I think ever since he got hurt that Super Bowl year, he hadn't been the same football player. And everybody keep trying to get him to get back there. But
I mean, do you know how tough it has to be to sit on the sidelines and watch your team make it to the Super Bowl when you knew that you were the person that was carrying that team on your back? I mean, it's got to be tough. And the way that the Philadelphia fans completely turned on him after coming back from injury to try to play, I mean, I think it's all mental when it comes to Carson.
We never turned on him.
Oh, you guys totally freaking turned on him.
No, we gave him the bag after the Super Bowl. Everybody thought it was mean because we got.
No, I'm talking about the year he came back from injury. I just felt like everybody was just like he was playing pretty bad. He was turning the ball over. He was fumbling the ball at the line of scrimmage.
Hard on my players, and he was sucking. Like he was trying to win a Super Bowl every single throw. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem. Like when you got to go to work and you see your backup got a statue. When you, like you said, you were the man that year. You know what I'm saying? You were winning. If Carson doesn't get hurt, he wins the MVP. You know what I'm saying? That's how good he was playing. I don't know if we win a Super Bowl. I can't say that part. I don't know if we win a Super Bowl with Carson staying healthy, though. At the same time, I think you needed to switch up. WP played a different style, offense in that, playoffs because he had Nick Foles, who wasn't as athletic. So he switched up his game. And I think it was the perfect time. You're dominant in one way. Then all of a sudden, boom, you switch it up in the playoffs. And now teams don't know you as well. And, obviously, Nick Foles had one of the best playoff any quarterback's ever had. So it's just like, it kind of worked out in our favor in that situation. But like I said, I don't think Carson's doing anything with Washington either. Don't get me wrong. I'm trying to, I'm not trying to pump him up. I'm sorry, pumping him up to let him back down. I don't think he's that guy no more. I think his confidence is shook. I don't think you can really get over that. The best coach you could have possibly had was last year with Frank Wright, and you didn't do it. So, obviously, if he can't get the best out of you, I don't think Rivera's going to get the best out of you. I think that football team's good, but it's not great. But like I said, I think the lowest, maybe the Giants win 6 games, and Washington wins like 7 games. What I'm saying? Maybe 8. But then, the Eagles and Cowboys probably have double-digit wins. That's how I
Absolutely.
see it. That's how I see it shaking out this year.
Yeah. I
It
mean,
still will be better than the previous 2 years, to kind of put. And I don't even know. Last year we had two teams out of the division go to the playoffs, right? So like there wasn't we had two. The West had three, so that's five. So that's just two other division winners. So we're obviously there's two other divisions that didn't have as many good teams as us too.
mhm.
So it's like we're already getting out of there, and I'm ready. Like I'm ready to say Eagles Super Bowl champions this year, and we're not the NFC least no more. Those are two hot takes that I'm throwing out there.
Super fire.
So, what are you thinking? Like, what game are you most interested in watching this year? Did you see the Cowboys schedule?
Yeah, I mean, the Dallas Cowboys have a very hot and cold schedule. They definitely don't have one of the toughest. I have them going 13-4 as long as we don't have any more injuries. If Dak Prescott can get back to being Dak, if he can get CeeDee Lamb and other supporting cast in the wide receiver room back active and out on the field, I have them going 13-4. I'm really looking forward to week 1 playing in Dallas. Let me finish. Playing in Dallas against. Yeah, I mean 13-4. I mean, okay. Look, you gotta look at the schedule.
Wasn't that your record last year?
Schedule before you call me crazy. Okay.
Week 1. You guys won 13 games last year, or was it 12?
12.
13.
That's what I'm saying. One more than last year. It's not that far off.
5 best good players. Like your team got worse. You think they're gonna do better?
I wouldn't say we got worse. Tyron Smith was also hurt last season. We had a lot of players coming off of injury last season as well. But I mean, if you look at the schedule, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in week 1. That can be an easy W. I mean, that offensive line right now for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is really shaky. Micah Parsons is going to eat.
Too.
Say again?
So your offensive line is shaky too, though.
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking about they're missing 4 starters on that offensive line right now. 4 starters. So we're plugging in 4 new pieces for the Bucs on that offensive line. That's way worse than the Dallas Cowboys situation when it comes to protection of the quarterback. We play Cincinnati week 2. I'm going to give them a loss right there, even though they're playing in Jerry's world. I just think that Joe Burrow and the team that he's put together with those young and they got better in the offseason. I feel like they did what they had to do to fix that offensive line with signing Alex Kappa from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to protect Joe Burrow. Keeping him upright is going to be crucial for them. As long as they can do that, I think they're going to be really efficient. So I have them losing in week 2. Dallas goes to New York to face the Giants. I have them winning. Then we go to Washington. We go back home to play Washington. That's going to be a W. Then we play the Rams, the Super Bowl winners of last season. I'm going to give them an L. I'm going to be reasonable and give them an L for that game. Then we play Philly, okay, in Philly. And you already know I had to put a W in that line because I mean, mostly just to annoy you, but I mean,
we're gonna have a side bet on that.
Dominated the Philadelphia Eagles last season. Dominated both games. Yes, I will say in that last game, you guys had Gardner Minshew out there, and you played with most of your third string. But I just feel like that competitive nature. That's the
huge thing about Cowboy fans. And the funny thing, we just had a roundtable. What was it on Monday? And that was something the Cowboys were talking about. Oh yeah, like we dominated 2 games last year, and they're talking about how. The Dolphins just did the last preseason game too. They dominated us. I'm like, you guys would know since you guys starters played our, third and fourth streams and put up a bunch of touchdowns. That doesn't make it good. That's not to make it tight. I couldn't even cap on another team. You should be sad that the third and fourth streamers even scored on you at all. That should be the real issue if you got your starters playing. So I don't give the Cowboys that second game. I think we would have won that game. I think this year we're sweeping the division too. So that means 2 games.
The division as in winning all games against division opponents?
No team, none of you guys are good as we are. None of you guys got the roster we have. None of you guys. Not even the Cowboys.
Okay, so the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles play week 14, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then week 5. Yeah.
If we were to split the series with you, it would have to be that week 5. I would be so pissed if the Eagles lose Christmas Eve. And I'm trying to go to that game too. That's the game. That's one of the games I'm trying to go to. Christmas Eve in Dallas, watching the Eagles beat the Cowboys in Jerry's World.
Are you playing? Are you live in Dallas?
I live in Alabama. I'm in
Oh,
the
okay,
South.
okay,
Not that far to go there though. I can.
okay.
That's a nice little plane ride. Jump over there. You
Yeah.
know. But either way, like even going to Philly, like out on a plane, it's not that far. I think driving was like 13 hours. It's not bad either. I can do
Not
that.
bad. Oh, you're crazy. I don't do long drives.
I've drove from Cali to Alabama like 4 times. I love driving across.
Voluntarily?
Yeah. For a long time, it was because I was scared of planes. I didn't like planes.
Oh,
And
okay. I see. I
I
see.
was just not down with that at all. Too many were
I'm the
falling out of
opposite.
the
I'm
car.
afraid of cars.
And then I took it in the bus like 2 times as well, the
Oof.
Greyhound. And that's not that bad. But
Yeah.
it's still 2.5 days. But yeah, I like seeing new towns, new cities, new people, new environments, how people do things differently. That's what we're here in the world to do. Let's find out new stuff, learn from
Yeah.
new people, see new things. Like a lot of people stick in the same area their whole lives. And I'm just sitting there like, you've been grown for how long now? You still have never left your city? Like, how is that even
I
possible?
mean, I think it's
You're
an
missing out
alarming
on life.
percentage. It's like 45% of adults are still living in the area code of where they graduated. So
45%. That's just
yeah,
you.
it's like some crazy number. I gotta look it up again, but I was
That's what
reading
they
an
do.
article
They
about
kind of set you up to like, when you're leaving high school, they try to throw a lot of like local stuff at you to stay there. Job opportunities, local, like work at the state hospital or
Of course,
the
they wouldn't want their residents to leave. They want their own like at-home people to stay and raise their family and have generational.
I get it, but it takes away from the whole purpose of having a world. Like
Yeah.
you got the whole world to go see all of it. You know what I'm saying? Like
We
you
got
get
the whole world in
right.
my head.
How many places have you been? For
Oh,
instance,
I lost count. Traveling is like one of my hobbies. I don't
right?
have any kids. And now that I have my dog certified as a service animal and he can fly with me, it's actually a surprise that I've been home two weekends in a row.
What? What's
Yeah,
the most
it's pretty
awesome
crazy.
place you've ever been?
Yeah, I went to Colombia. I've been to California twice, and I'm
Ooh,
talking about just this year. Colombia, California twice, New Orleans, Chicago. Where else? Pennsylvania. Just Nevada, like 3 times. I had a friend that just got married out there. Yeah, I don't like to stay home.
yeah.
Yeah.
And again, no, nigga, I'm not judging. Some people I do know. I got a lot of hometown people that I know every time I go back home, they're gonna be there. And that's cool. But I just feel like we're supposed to be out and about, moving
Yeah.
around, finding new people and meeting new people. Not saying that it's anything wrong. That's what life's great. There's many different type of people, and so nothing's ever wrong. It's just my
Yeah.
personal opinion. Is I
No,
think
I mean, I definitely can appreciate the people that want to stay close to home and don't kind of want to leave their comfort zone. I mean, if we need people like that in the world. So if you're gonna fit that slot, then if that's for you, if that's what makes you comfortable, then who am I to judge? But that's definitely not my lifestyle. But hey, to each
just
his
like
own.
people, we need army people, and I'm never going to the army, so I'm happy all them people that enlist. So that's we don't have to come back out with the draft. I wouldn't go even if they drafted me. So
I would go on the run.
right, I would be.
They wouldn't find me.
Woo!
I'd
I
be
go
gone.
to Philly once, never again. Well, that's a little farther than Cali to Alabama. That's like a whole another 13 hours. So I guess my friend drove from Cali to New York. And that's exactly on the
Oh
opposite
God,
side. And that was a
I'm already
long.
feeling achy just from hearing that. I can't imagine actually sitting through that. Oh
So
Lord.
all those places you go, I know Brazil. How was Brazil actually?
No, I've never been to Brazil. Brazil is definitely on my checklist.
So
It
where
was
did you say you went?
Colombia. I went to Colombia in March.
Colombia. How was Colombia?
Colombia is amazing. I would definitely go back, but I would visit a different city. I went to Cartagena, which is like super touristy. Very beautiful. The water is so blue out there, so I definitely recommend going to the beach and renting one of those little boats and going out in the water. And they have all those small islands that are attached to the side of Cartagena. But I also went to Dominican Republic in May to see my family because I hadn't been in 3 years. I would definitely recommend for everybody to go to Dominican Republic.
Want to go there?
Yeah, they treat Americans like we're family. It's freaking it's freaking amazing.
Is
I
that the
brought
man?
a lot of
Are you
my friends and
Dominican?
family with me, and we all had a really great time out there.
Are you Dominican?
My mom is from Dominican Republic, yes.
Nice.
I was born in the States, but my mom's from there, and 95% of her family is out there.
Nice. That's
She's
awesome.
the oldest of 9 siblings, so I have like 127 cousins. Like it's pretty
Woo!
big family.
Family
There's cousins I
everywhere.
still haven't even met yet. It's pretty intense.
That's awesome. That is awesome, man. A lot of them still live there in Dominica.
Yeah,
Republic?
yeah, yeah. There's
Awesome.
only my mom only has one sibling out of her 9 siblings. She only has one of them that has their visa to live here in the
What?
States. Yeah, so
That's
it's a really
crazy.
tough process. It's definitely not easy. It takes years and years and paperwork and tests, and it's pretty intense. And after Trump went into office, it all obviously caused you know, overseas and residents it's even more of a difficult process now. So
Oh
yeah.
wow. What was the farthest you've ever driven?
So I was born in Pennsylvania and we moved to Florida when I was
You're not an
7.
Eagles fan, man.
No, man. No, I'm not.
What?
I'm
You
not.
say you're born in Pennsylvania? You're
I
not
was
an
born in
Eagles fan?
Pennsylvania. Yes, I was born in Pennsylvania.
Wow,
But
Peter.
listen to this. So my father came to the United States when what in the early I think it's 91 he came to the States. And what football team was consistently shoved in his face in the early 90s? The Dallas Cowboys. So my
Yeah.
whole entire family were just like, oh, they just won the Super Bowl. I guess we're Dallas Cowboys fans. So that's kind of the root of how that started. And
And none of them are
yeah,
Eagle fans.
my family's pretty stubborn. They weren't going to leave. We all became obsessed. Once Troy Aikman decided to retire, we all became obsessed with, Tony Romo, who stepped into the place. And it's just been a long year of just being disappointed by the team that we decided to follow just decades ago.
None of none of them Eagle fans.
No, my stepdad's an Eagles fan because he was born and raised. He was born and raised in Philly. That's why he's an Eagles fan. But he doesn't even really like the team. He said,
What?
other than you guys winning your Super Bowl, he's been, especially after Donovan McNabb kind of left, kind of a sour taste in his mouth, and then you guys went and got Michael Vick, and it was just a lot of disheartening things happening in the Philadelphia organization. So my stepdad is an Eagles fan. That's because he was born and raised in Philadelphia.
Do you like Hurts?
I do. I followed him throughout his collegiate career. I felt bad for him when he left Alabama. I felt bad for him when he got hurt. So I mean, I was happy to see him get drafted in the NFL, and I wanted to see kind of how his career was going to evolve from the collegiate level. But his style of play, I'm not a huge fan of like the Lamar Jackson type of style of play. And I feel like Jalen Hurts is kind of in that same category as being one of those running quarterbacks that wants to use his legs. And I'm not a huge fan of that because I don't think that could take you over the top. I don't think that could take you to the next level of winning a Super Bowl. I think you have to be able to be accurate and throw the deep ball. And I just feel like Jalen Hurts needs to work on that. But I mean, he's so young in his career. Tom Brady's playing his 23rd season right now. So who knows, how far his career is going to go. But I mean, I definitely think he has what it takes. He had a great offseason. He looks completely jacked right now. He looks like a freaking linebacker. So he had a really great offseason. So I'm looking forward to see how his game is going to evolve this season.
And I get it, he can go up, but you gotta realize too how many pocket quarterbacks have won, Super Bowls for real. It's usually teams that win it. It's not really the quarterback spot.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, one of the best ever. He only got 1 ring. You know what I'm saying? Like the best ever. Peyton Manning got 2. You know what I'm saying? Eli even got rings. Flacco got rings. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a team thing. So I don't feel like I don't think he runs as much as Lamar, and I don't think he's as bad as a passer as Lamar. I think maybe at this point in his career, he's a better passer than Lamar was. Like Lamar just started getting good like really last year. His first one, the MVP year, was mostly just dumping it down the backs and tight ends when he wasn't, running the football. So, Russ Wilson, his Super Bowl he won. He wasn't that passer guy. He was still scrambling around there, running around. he didn't even know how to read defense 100% at his. They always win in that first couple of years because that's their rookie year. And if they got the team around them, because they're not spending all that money on quarterback, you put a big team around them. You know what I'm saying? That's where your window to win that Super Bowl. Because once you see what happened when you get, a $40 million quarterback, now your team don't have money to allocate to all the other positions to have that complete team. And that's why a lot of superstars don't even, pocket quarterback don't even have. So I think if you're able to do both, I think Jalen, even as last year throughout the season, like he did less of the just running just to run. He kind of ran to, create more time before he threw the ball. You might not say he does take out of the pocket a little bit too fast, but you think about it. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, if they got a rush coming, you know what I'm saying, they got to get the ball out faster because they know they're not running nowhere. If you got legs like Jalen, you can take off, and do your thing there too. You're producing positive plays. He's a playmaker. That's what I say. I won't call him, I call him a dual threat playmaker. So it's like that's something that not a lot of quarterbacks do have, and some of the better ones like the Patty Mahomes, Russell Wilson, those guys, they are dual threats too. Josh Allen, he has pretty much the same stats that Jalen Hurts has, in terms of passing and running. I mean, how often he runs the football, and no one kind of puts that on him. And Jalen has better stats within the first 20 games than Josh Allen did in his first 20 games. I think a lot of people look at kind of that stuff a little bit too much. I think that doesn't really have anything to do. I think that, like we said earlier, that the fact that he's won the same offense 2 years in a row, that's something that no one's ever seen him do. So they understand that impact of his play and being able to feel comfortable in the offense and have more control of the offense, more control at the line, be able to check in and out of plays. You might not have been able to do that your first year. Now you can do that your second year because you actually got the same playbook, and having better weapons, more developed weapons. That's definitely going to help out. But like I said, if we can get that run game going, get the number one offense, he'll be just fine. Grant says, when is Ruth going to have a Bucs YouTube channel? Grant, I'm working on that now. I'm trying to on that. Oh, they want to know.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely something that we can put in the works because I'm right here in Tampa. I know it's dark outside, so you can't see, but you could literally see the Raymond James Stadium right behind me. So I'm really, really close to the stadium, and I've been definitely developing relationships with the Tampa Bay Bucs and their PR department. I'm actually going to check to see if I have availability to go to practice tomorrow. If you guys don't follow me on social media, follow me on Instagram at Ruth the Truth 1. I go live at practice, and I definitely put up all the videos from training camp and media availability. Tomorrow, we're going to have locker room access where we're going to be able to go inside the locker room and actually talk to the players one-on-one. And I like to go live during those times, so definitely follow me on there and stay plugged in. But yeah, I mean, we could definitely get talking once we're done with this live about possibly starting a Bucs channel.
Heck yeah, BGN definitely needs a Bucs channel for sure. And then it says, does she follow former super cool player James Canada? He was drafted by Tony Dungy. You know who that is?
The name sounds familiar, but I can't think of the face right now.
What position did he play? Grant's older. You know what I'm saying? He knows all the players for every single team.
Yeah. So I speaking of Tony Dungy, I hear that name all the time when I'm around Martin Gramatica, who was the Super Bowl kicker for the Bucs in 2002. So working with him on the Martin Gramatica show, which was a live television broadcast on Z Living, I got to talk to a lot of the Bucs players that won the Super Bowl in 2002. So Brad Johnson, we had Mike Allstat come into the studio and do an episode with us. We have Devin Brooks that came into the studio and talked with us. So I am kind of plugged in slightly with the Buccaneers alumni for sure.
Yes. What about Cowboys? Have you been able to interview any Cowboys people? Just that, just for yourself.
I have not, unfortunately, but that is definitely a dream of mine to definitely shoot my shot with Dallas once I graduate with my bachelor's. I want to definitely put in a resume with the Dallas Cowboys to see if they're looking for any type of sideline reporter, or if any radio or television broadcast out there is looking for looking for Cowboys coverage. Because I mean, what better job than to cover your favorite team that you've been following since you were a kid? That would be a dream come true.
Look at Drew. Let's
put that in the air. Dallas Cowboys, paying my
Your
mortgage.
resume, the shows you've been on, all the people you've been working with, and the shows you've been on, that's gonna be no problem. You know what I'm saying? Like your resume take you wherever you want to go. You can come
Thanks.
back, you can go back home to Philadelphia and vote for the real team, the Eagles.
So I was born in Chambersburg, and you've probably never heard of that town because it's like this big, and it's almost 4 hours south of Philadelphia. So yeah, I was born in Pennsylvania, but I was very, very, very far away from the Philadelphia Eagles.
There's only two teams there you worry about, and that's the Steelers or the Eagles. Which one were you closer to?
Philly was a little bit closer. Pittsburgh is a little more north.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, when it came to fandom, neither. I mean, I couldn't. Not with my father and my uncle.
What year did you leave there? Like, how long did you actually live there?
I moved to Florida in 2001.
Oh, that's a while ago.
So I was 7.
Oh, so you're only 7, so you probably didn't get the full experience to see all the great colors out there. You're in Florida.
Yeah, I mean, I watched a lot of Philadelphia Eagles games because, like I said, my stepfather was a huge fan. I love Donovan McNabb. I thought he was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL for, the time period of when I was watching the NFL as a kid. But I couldn't. My dad would not allow it. No way.
He would not allow. I know, and I'm a dad too. And like I'll be trying to force them to be. It's like most of my kids just like whatever you are, dad. That's what I am. You know what I'm saying? So that's cool. But some of them are just kind of like, hey, you ain't gonna watch no other team. Okay, you can have a second team. You can have as many college teams as you want. You can have as many basketball teams, baseball, whatever. When it comes to NFL, there's only one color here, and that's green. We're bleeding green over here. So I do kind of push them towards me. Like presents will be like Eagle gifts. Now here's your new Eagles jersey. And they're like, thanks, Dad. Yeah. I didn't really want that, but okay, I'll take it.
It's more of a present for yourself.
Yeah, to see them run around the house and they're like, yeah. Did I tell you that look good? That look good, girl. So yeah, it is more for me. But as they get older, obviously I won't force it on them. They can be whatever they want. But I'm just, I hope that the ones that are still Eagles fans, just like, out of all of them, probably like 4 or 5 of them. And the other ones, hopefully they'll change over, be BIRDGANG fan forever and realize that that's all Daddy's going to talk about. So hopefully when we talk football, it'd be about the Eagles. And as long as you're not a Cowboys fan or anybody in the NFC East, like if you say I got a couple of kids that's in Cali, if they end up being like a Rams fan or Niners fan or something like that, whatever, like.
Oh my gosh, the Niners, man! What the heck? They just signed Jimmy G. I'm so confused. I'm so confused. How is?
Do you think that's a sign and trade, or do you think that they're actually going to start Jimmy G? Because I think Trey Lance is not going to be the guy.
I mean, if you're bringing back Jimmy G after you literally told Trey Lance that this is his team, and then you're going to bring back Jimmy G, the pressure on Trey Lance right now is astronomical. I feel bad for the kid. Like, he's probably not sleeping at night with how Jimmy's just like literally breathing down his neck at this point. Because if they go, looking at their schedule, if they go 1-3 or if they go 0-4 in the first 4 weeks, Trey is gone. Like, Kyle Shanahan is not waiting for them to be put in a position where they're, 0-6 or winning 2 games out of 8. Like there's no way that's going to happen. So, I never thought that Trey Lance was the answer. I really thought it was disrespectful for them to go for Trey Lance early in the draft over Jimmy G. I understand it's the organization. They got to be about their wins. They got to be about their money. But I just have a feeling they're going to kind of regret picking Trey Lance over Jimmy G.
Do you think they just do that to lock in a contract to trade him, though? You know how teams do that? Sometime before they traded, like another team wanted to know that they're gonna pay a guy a certain amount of money, so they lock it in and then ship him off with a trade. You think that's what they're doing?
How would that benefit them though?
It benefits them if they say there's a player that they want and they give you quarterback player. You know what I'm saying? Or even like Jimmy G's good enough to get a third. Maybe a second if you're a desperate quarterback if someone gets hurt, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if somebody really
you're locking in a contract so he doesn't have to go there and get a brand new contract, something big. Like you locked him in for so many years. So now when he gets traded, that team knows he has so many years. to keep him before to see if he's going to be any good. Because I don't know. I haven't been a huge Jimmy G fan. Like everybody's like his winning percentage is high, but I'm like a lot of that did come with the Patriots. I mean, some of that came with the Patriots, and the Patriots, they're any quarterback over there get a high winning percentage. Belichick just does his thing. Tom Brady. I think we've talked about this plenty of times. In the past shows where I don't think Tom Brady's to go. I don't think he's the best quarterback ever. I just think he's the smartest. And he was on the best teams.
Yeah, but when we think of that, when we think of the word the GOAT, when we think of that title, greatest of all time, that has to be on so many other aspects than just winning games. I mean, if you think about Tom Brady and his career, he's been to 10 Super Bowls in his 23 years. I mean, his 23rd season hasn't even started yet. So basically, I think 45% of the Super Bowls that have happened during his career, he's been a part of 10 of those. I mean, he might not be the best physically.
But you think about what Tom Brady did, though. His first 3 of them, he was a game manager. I don't give anybody. They had good running backs and a great defense. So he was a game manager.
Have to play in a system. You have to play at your team's strength. So maybe he was a game manager, but at the end of the day, they understood that that's how they had to play for them to make it to a Super Bowl. And I mean,
that's what I'm saying. It's the team. Because remember that year he got hurt like in a preseason or something?
Well, I mean, football is a team sport. You can't just.
Castle came in and threw for more yards than Tom Brady ever threw for. Remember Matt Castle came in and he was 13-4 or something like that, 13-3 or no, he was like 10-6. He was like 10-6. And he had threw for like 5,000 yards, and like Brady didn't even throw for 5,000 yards with him. That's what got him that big contract in KC, and he realized he sucked because anytime they leave. Like when you're in that system, you're good in that system. When they go other places, they're not good. He sucked after they left. He left there, but it was showed just like Jimmy G when he played. He looked good there. It's the system that they run. The style offense. Yeah. Like Bill Belichick, I think he's a GOAT for coach. Maybe him first. And then there's actually some really good coaches like Andy Reid's up there. You got a Lombardi.
Oh yeah, I loved Andy Reid. I think he's an amazing fit with the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, I think Philadelphia really. Slipped up letting him go, and it was very dramatic in that fashion. But I mean, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, I feel like is going to be the next era of Bill Belichick and Tom Brady.
Think so?
Yeah, I mean, they have Patrick tied in for
what about Nick and Jalen?
Who?
Nick and Jalen.
I mean, they're 2 really young. I mean, we got a young coach.
They're together for the next 20 years. They're going to be together. We're going to have like 15 Super Bowls. Hot take.
That is a super, super hot take.
No, that's probably not going to really happen, but
we can dream, right?
Wishful thinking there. Wishful thinking.
Wishful thinking.
So, how did you say you break down the division this year? Give me what do you think the Cowboys going to rank in our division, and then what do you think just in the NFC East? Because last year you guys were ranked number 1 or number 2.
We were ranked number 1 in the NFC East.
No, NFC.
Oh, in the NFC. Was it number 2? No, I think the Bucs were number 2.
Or was it 3? Was that 3?
I think we were 3 or 4. Oh. I think we might have been 3.
I know you guys won like you said, like 13 or something like that.
Yeah. Going into this season, I would love to say that we would be number 1 in the NFC. But like I said, there's a lot of question marks when it comes to the protection of Dak Prescott, the weapons that we lost in the offseason, how CeeDee Lamb is going to transpire in his second season. So I would be happy if they're in the top 5 in the NFC. I would be happy with that.
Top 5?
Yeah, top 5 for sure.
And you said, what was your floor and ceiling for the team?
What is my floor and ceiling?
Yeah, for wins.
Oh, I mean, 12 and 13 wins on the regular season. That's what I'm predicting. We don't have that crazy hard of a schedule. If you're looking at the home and away games, I really think it's possible for them to at least get another 12 games this season.
So 12 is the floor and 13 is the ceiling?
Yes. 12 is the floor. Well, if we're talking about the floor, I would say 10 games. 10 games is the floor. 13 is the ceiling.
10 games floor, 13 ceiling.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say for the Eagles, we're going to be the number 1 team in the division and top 3 in the NFC. in general. I think the Rams and maybe the Bucs. Depending on Brady, I don't even believe in the Bucs really. So maybe top three. So we're gonna be like 2, 3, 1, 2, or 3 in the NFC. I feel like this year's gonna be a very special year. I think the floor is definitely 13-4. Like you said, you guys got an easy schedule. We got an even easier schedule. Like we don't even play no elite quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, um, we're gonna have a little bit easier schedule there. I think we win the division easily. 13-4 is the floor, and 17-0. Is a ceiling,
Oh
obviously.
my gosh, you guys really do have an easy schedule. What the heck?
Really easy.
Oh my gosh, it's so easy.
Yeah,
Get out of here.
that's what I said. 17-0 is the ceiling.
Yeah, you guys could definitely win 13 games easy.
And I think for sure 13, man. 13 easily. That's what I'm going for. I think 13.
Holy jeez.
I think if we lost, like if we were to only win 10 games, I would be disappointed and say that somebody needed to get fired. For real, the talent we added. Come on now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know we're not going 17-0. I'm saying that I think there's not a team on that schedule that can beat us. Like for real. Like any given Sunday, I get it. Like what I'm saying? Like football rules. Like sometimes a team beats another team that they shouldn't. Like the Cowboys might beat us. We might split there or something like that. Division games get weird. I'm saying 13-4 in my prediction. But I am saying like we can beat everybody on that schedule. Like
I think your toughest games for the Philadelphia Eagles is going to be the Green Bay Packers, and this is late November that you're playing the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay, and then maybe the Cardinals, maybe. But other than that, I mean, Jaguars, Detroit, Cleveland Browns, the Jets, the Dolphins, Washington Commanders, like you guys, I mean, easy 13-win season for y'all for sure.
Yeah. So then, like I said, like I know that it's gonna be like I said, like I had to find the 4 losses. So when I look around, I think those 4 losses changed a couple of times. Like what if Dougie P and the Jacksonville Jaguars? Jaguars got a lot of new players this year. They got a lot of players that were hurt last year coming back this year. Plus, they added a lot of good ones. Plus, they got a Super Bowl coach over there in Dougie P. Who knows? He might be able to get something out of, Sunshine over there, Trevor Lawrence, and that's he got Kirk over there. What I'm saying? They got a couple other good receivers. They got 2 good running backs over there. ETN comes back this year. Robinson was a beast last year. Like, you got to get off the line. Like, there's a possibility the Jags don't suck next year. And then he won a Super Bowl for Philly. You know how that goes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to beat your old team. So, like, I think that could be a game. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if the Cowboys, we don't sweep the division, the Cowboys get 1. That might be 2, And then it's like I look around, just like, maybe Carson Wentz, because every time the Eagles have a star player that goes over to the Washington Redskins, they torch us. Like Deshaun Jackson torched us. McNabb torched us. Trotters torched us on defense. You know what I'm saying? So every time a good player go over there, what if Carson goes over there? He doesn't have a great year, but he beats us. You know what I'm saying? Just to stab us one good time. Like, yeah, guys, you didn't get 1 on me, or split with us or something like that. So that's another. And then after that, it's like really the 4th loss, flip a coin. The rest of the teams. Who you think gonna win? I don't know. What if we bomb out first game of the season? I don't think it's gonna happen, but come in too cocky against the Lions and all of a sudden they creep one out. What I'm saying? Like what if a lot of the week 1, a lot of there's a lot of upsets happen week 1 of the season anyway. So it's like what if that's 4? Like that's it. That's all I can think of. Like I can't.
Yeah.
And like other than that, there's problems like internally. Like either people are getting hurt. The coaches haven't learned from their mistakes from last year. They're coming out with the same BS they came out with early last season, and that's not going to be good for nobody. So, then they definitely be fired by the end of the season. Because I think our defensive coach should be the top candidate for defensive coach of the year with the defense that he has this year. Like I know a lot of other coaches, if they had that same defense, they'd destroy teams, with that much talent. So he better get his stuff together and go out there and make our defense better than last year. I don't like that soft. Eagles got physical defense. That's what we're used to. You know what I'm saying? Like we're used to physicality. I remember being an Eagles fan, even throughout those losing years, it was like at least our defense was hitting people. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
Like
yeah.
we got one, but we knocked some heads throughout the game. Where you're like, yeah, baby, let's go. So it gave you something to cheer about. So. And like this is the first year we're ever paper champs. You guys are used to being the paper champs. You know, we
Mhm.
never been a paper champ. I don't even know how. That's why I'm like being overzealous with it because I'm like, I'm not even used to being paper champs. You know, even the Super Bowl year, like we picked up
What does
pieces.
that even mean?
You have the best roster on paper.
Ah, okay, okay.
You know, like they always say Cowboys the paper champs because you guys always
Yeah.
have good rosters but don't go nowhere. So it's like that's like we always didn't have the people doubted us and even the Super Bowl year they doubted us. Like we have to go earn those wins, earn those playoff wins, earn those playoff going to the playoffs and whatnot like that. That's Super Bowl. No one started the year like, hey, Eagles are winning the Super Bowl in 2017. I think that's going to happen. No, that did not happen. No one even had a clue we are going to win a Super Bowl. That was just like one of like magical seasons. But this year, I feel like the season hasn't started yet, and I can honestly say I think we can win. I think we're going to win the Super Bowl. And I say it with confidence just because the players we got. I'm like, well, it'll be really sad to not see these guys win. Think about like all the storylines. A lot of the players that we picked up, they're from the area. You know what I'm saying? Like they're coming back home for the first time in their NFL careers. Reddick, Kaiser White, they're from the area over there, the Pennsylvania, New Jersey area. So they're like already talking about how it's awesome having family. They never had that many family go to the game and like friends go to the game because they were always on the other side of the country. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a huge boost. They're already good players. They can go to the next level just from that energy alone. Your family, you're like Jordan Davis drafted first round. Your mom's a huge Eagle fan. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna make him play harder for mama's favorite team. You know what I'm saying? Like just storylines. Jalen Hurts trying to prove everybody wrong. It's Hurts season, baby. It's Hurts season. He got to go out there and put his respect on his name. He got the weapons. AJ trying to show that he's a still elite receiver. He's not injury prone. Devontae trying to be an elite receiver. Dallas trying to be elite tight end. Miles trying to be elite brother. You know what I'm saying? Just all these proven. Jason Kelsey on his last year, trying to win one more Super Bowl before he retired. Lane Johnson's up there in years trying to win it. Like Fletcher Cox might be his last year on the Eagles. He want to go out there with a bang. There's just a lot of proven type people on our team. Bradbury. I think he's on a 1-year contract where he wants to be elite again. So he's trying to prove that last season with the Giants was a fluke, and he's actually still a Pro Bowl type player. Like we just got a lot of proven guys that are still trying to prove something, and if they go out there and work together, put it all together, they're building family time right now. You see them going places together, going out to dinner, doing what teams are supposed to do when they're trying to build
building that camaraderie,
Yeah.
you guys you're gonna see on the field, yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, that was really the big things. It was like the 17th season, we kept adding new talent, but this year it was all young talent that hasn't even reached their prime. Like AJ Brown hasn't even hit his prime yet. You know what I'm saying? Like he's good.
He came from Tennessee, right?
Yeah, he's only been in the league for 3 years.
Yeah.
He's only 24 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's still a young buck. A big guy, but a young buck. Still in the game. Like all these young guys. Quez hasn't hit his prime. Devontae hasn't hit his prime. Jalen hasn't. Goddard hasn't. Like Mailata and Dickerson on the left side. I mean, the left side of that line, they haven't hit their prime. They're like going to be the biggest monsters ever on the left for our Lions ever had. Like there's a lot of people that are either A, working on towards hitting their prime, or B, they're like, goats on the team that are about to leave, you know what I'm saying? And they got a lot of motivation to win with the young bucks and, do something positive. So I think this is like, when they say like the perfect recipe, like you blended everything right together. Howie Roseman, he's back at being the GM of the year. Like what he's done over the last 2 seasons, you know what I'm saying? It's nothing short of a miracle. You know what I'm saying? It's time to give him his respect again. I know a lot of Eagles fans hate him, but it is time to give him all the flowers. How'd you do that? We were $70 million over the cap, and we went under the cap last year and had some good pieces together. Then we come back this year. Now you just gave us like every position when we made our wish list at the end of the season. I wish we had this, and this. And he went out and got all of them. Like, here you go, guys. Good job for making the playoffs. I'm gonna give you what you need to win it. And, like you gotta give him his flowers, man. And then he still has money. Just like to see. The Chauncey Gardner Jr. Johnson move that we just made yesterday, like he still has a little bit more money if he wants to go get another person. Reagor just left today. We traded Reagor finally. Like,
wow.
Are you going to go get another receiver now?
Are you excited about getting rid of Reagor?
Yeah and no. I wasn't that big of a Howie hater. And I wasn't that big of a Reagor hater. I know it's mental, with him. Like he's a great athlete. He got skills. You see it in the offseason, him making plays, one-headed catches, all the things you need to do to be a top, receiver. It's just that, I think he kind of felt slighted when the Eagles went back out and drafted Devontae Smith the next year. He was hurt kind of that first year in the beginning. So, like, he never really got Carson play like ass that season, you know what I'm saying? So he never got the full to be that star to even, how, we draft you first round so you to be the star, and then all of a sudden, like, the season doesn't go right, and next year, like, okay, I guess you're not it, so we're going to go draft another guy first round. That kind of probably got mentally on him. And then he was like, from there, the pressure just kept mounting. He had best friends dying around him, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's huge. Maybe have someone close die around. So it was a more of a mental thing for me. I think, it's a mental gap that maybe a new place. Look where he goes off to Minnesota now, where you got Justin Jefferson, Thielen in front of you. Like, that's a perfect spot. If you can go slide in and be the number 3 receiver on that receiving core, now you just upgraded their receiver core, and you guys can have, one of the top receiving cores in the league. And Justin Reagor can play like he does in the offseason. Like, Philly's a hard place to play.
Yeah, it is.
Fans here are very hard on players. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't care if you suck that game. We're gonna let you know straight up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you were ass. Don't come play like that again, or we might not. We'll burn your jersey in the driveway. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, people get a little crazy over here. Look at all my Cowboy people in here today. What's up? They come to see Ruth and her Cowboy support, and they come to see me.
What's up, we them boys? How about them Cowboys?
He's also check out Boys for Life guy. He's on the network. One of the guys that bring that fire Dallas content. Like, he can't mess with the Eagles, but you know what I'm saying, he's the number one Eagles troll out there. But he's not messing with the Eagles. The Cowboys are not as good as we are. So I question if the Cowboys is horrible. They seem to develop good, decent online guys. The Cowboys did. What did you guys pick up? Because you guys lost Lau Collins.
I was not even that excited about Lau Collins. I mean, he had to serve a suspension for all that. What was it? He had failed the drug test. Was it steroids or something? Or
I know it failed drug test.
Yeah, so it just, and I mean, he's one of the most penalized offensive linemen out there. So I wasn't even heard about that. But yeah, we just have a very aged O-line. I mean, Zach Martin is actually older than Tyron Smith. So
he is?
Yeah, he is.
It doesn't feel like that, huh? I thought.
Yeah, I know. When somebody said it, I had to double check it. I was like, wait a minute, really? Yeah, he actually is. Only by a year, but he is.
So we do agree that you think that Lamb, too much pressure for him to be number one. Because, listen.
I'm not going to say he's not up for the job. I'm not going to say that CeeDee Lamb isn't capable. I just feel like I'm a little bit worried about putting him in that spotlight as being the number one. But I mean, at this point, do we really have a choice? There's so many question marks about Michael Gallup. Is his availability in the first couple weeks even going to be a conversation? So kind of scary.
Exactly. And Coop took the pressure off, and Gallup. Imagine if Gallup had 1,000 yards, Coop already was a Pro Bowler, you know what I'm saying? That made you there in the middle of number 2, you know what I'm saying? If your thirds lighten up, your first lighten up, that list leaves you open in the middle to do your thing. And I'm not saying he's not a good receiver, you know what I'm saying? He's a good receiver. I just don't think he's going to be – it's kind of like the Eagles. Devontae Smith is a good receiver, but you see his frame, he's a little guy. You don't want that being your number one. We tried that with Deshaun Jackson. He was good, but – it would have been better if we had a big guy to pair up with Deshaun Jackson back in the day. And that's why we went out there and got AJ Brown to be the real number one. Okay, now you can handle number 2 stuff and 3 stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's better on the whole team as a whole. We don't rely on Devontae being number one. And not that he's a bad receiver, but if you look at the Super Bowls, you need a team that has 3 starting receivers. You know what I'm saying? 3 to 4 starting receivers. The Bengals have 3 good starters. The Rams had 3 good starters, for the team, and Rams even have 4. So it's gotten to the point we need depth at that spot. Your playmakers you have to have a deep playmaking, chart if you think you're going to win a Super Bowl nowadays. You got to have depth on offense, a defensive line, and you got to have playmakers up in the game. Because that's how you really win. If you got 4 good receivers, it's not very many good teams that got 4 good corners to guard them, But if you're a team that only got 2 good receivers, now you might run across a couple of teams that got 2 good enough, a star and a good enough second to actually guard your 2. Your second best receiver could have an off game or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So now your team is back to being, stagnant offense because you're not getting nobody open because you only had 2 good receivers. So you need to have 3, 4. I think we got 5. Reagan's going, so I think we're down to 4 now. 4 pretty good ones. So, that's what really matters is getting that depth along that receiving core. And I think, if the Cowboys losing Wilson and Cooper and Gallup not being 100%, I just don't see. That's too much. To me, I just think that's too much attention.
I think it's going to be an absolute necessity for the run game to really be developed in the backfield for the Dallas Cowboys this season. So, I mean, Mike McCarthy does not have the resume of having a strong run game. I think that's why Aaron Rodgers was able to force him out of Green Bay. He just didn't evolve to the new standards of the NFL, where you got to have a great wide receiver room as well as a good run game. So I'm a little worried of the development of Zeke. I mean, he's just been kind of on the decline the last 3 seasons. So
do you think he picked it back up, or do you think it's over? Because I think it might be over for Zeke.
Nah, I think I'm going to give him one more season. I'm not going to pick him as my fantasy running back. I wouldn't be jumping to those standards.
Oh, are you picking Tony though?
Yeah, because he burned me last season. So let's not even go there.
Are you getting Pollard?
I mean, if Tony Pollard falls to me, then maybe. But I mean, I have the second pick in my league, so I'm picking up Derrick Henry.
Woo! Exactly right. That is always my first pick every year.
Derrick Henry, absolutely.
It's like hands down. That's all I want first round. Just give me Henry.
Yep. Cooper Kupp, Derrick Henry, Brady. Give them all 3 to me, please.
I think I want Hurts, man. I'm probably gonna put Hurts on all my pay leagues. I just think he was number 1 last season. And I think he's gonna get better this year. He's gonna be number 1
because he ran the ball so much in the red zone. He was slightly selfish. I mean, there was no reason why up to week 8, Miles Sanders had almost 1,000 yards on the ground with 0 touchdowns. It was just, I don't know.
It was all his fault. You think about it, you can get an easy touchdown. You're not putting up as great of pass numbers at the town wants you or the city wants you to, but you keep scoring touchdowns. That's what keep everybody off your back. You know what I'm saying? And then you gotta look at Gainwell stole 6 of them last year. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't even putting in the work to get down there. And once he got down there, he get the ball, Gainwell, touchdown, 15-yard touchdown, Gainwell, 10-yard touchdown, Gainwell. Boston Scott scoring touchdowns. It's like Miles put the work in. He just couldn't get in the end zone. But still, to have 800 yards, that's pretty awesome too. That still showed that you are good. You missed a couple of games. Get healthy. And I think that was more of not his fault. People try to make it seem like it was Miles' fault, he's just bad, he can't score a touchdown. No, it was the fact that like you said, Jalen Hurts wanted some scores. You know what I'm saying? They were trying to pass for more touchdowns. He had 26 touchdowns, 10 of them were on the ground. So that's 10 rushing touchdowns. Usually most good running backs don't have 10 in a season. So
exactly.
That's a lot of touchdowns. I do want to see, especially on the goal line situation, unless it's a quarterback sneak, I definitely want to see Jalen hand the ball off. I think our line is just good enough to do it there. Good enough to handle it. I feel like our line is good enough that if we should never have a 4th and 1 or 4th and inches that we don't get. It just never happen. They're that good. They're that big and monster. Bigger monsters. I just think that should never happen this year. I don't see it happening. Like you said, I think Jalen can give it to Miles this year. I think he might make it a point to give it to Miles this year to try to help his buddy out. Build his confidence back up.
For sure. Hand off the rock, Jalen.
But you see how good he runs with it too. He was our leading rusher. He does got the moves. And like I said, I think that's a lot of the league just scared of Jalen because they don't know. They never really see a Jalen. You can say Lamar Jackson, but they're totally different. They're different body structures, their body size. Lamar, I think, is taller, skinnier, faster. Jalen is way stronger, stockier, smaller, more
compact. Big guy.
And he can pass the ball. I think he passes. I know how people say Lamar passes better, maybe last season, but you gotta look at Lamar first 2 years. How he wasn't that much of a passer. He's just more of a runner. And I think that's everybody. There hasn't been a quarterback really that are lighting it up when that comes far in between of quarterbacks that come in the league and just light it up their first year start. That's not a normal thing. So for everybody to be like, well, he can't pass. Well, no one ever did it. So how are you going to, put that much pressure on this guy, to do it? You got to give him his time to grow, just like everybody else had their time to grow. Patty Mahomes didn't read defenses till his 4th season. He said that live. He's like, hey, I didn't even know how to read it. Defense, you know what I'm saying? You surround the young guys with talented players. They make plays. The other people make plays for you. and that help you look better. Like even the Packers, I don't think the Packers are going to be as good. I know Aaron is the GOAT, but I don't think they're going to be as good because they lost Devontae Adams. Like
Yeah.
that's when you got the best at the position, you take away that guy, you're never going to replace. You're never going to get the same production. Like that's why I think with Cal, Dak had 5,000 yards and had a lot of yards last year. Without Coop and Gallup playing good, it's like I don't think he's going to have that many yards passing. You got a good Dalton, so they've always had a decent tight end. So it's like I don't feel. I think it's going to dip a little bit. Am I saying he's going to go low 4,000? He still might be around the 4,200. That's what Dak do. He's more of a passer anyway, so he's not running the ball for 800 yards, 600 yards like that. He's passing the football. So I think that dips down a little bit. Jalen dips up a little bit. I think Jalen hits the 4,000 yards passing this season, and maybe 700 yards, around the same 700 yards rushing. I do think he gets in the 30s in touchdowns this year. Combined 30 touchdowns, and we go from there. As long as he gets us in the playoffs, 13-4 record. Maybe win a playoff game or two. Then you sign him to that big long extension. But I would even make him wait an extra year, take advantage of it.
Yeah.
People get too sensitive with contracts, think you got to re-sign people real fast. I don't care how good you play. You signed a contract 5 years. You did great. That's how much you thought you were worth. And play those 5 years. Come and talk to me for a new contract after that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't be like, oh, you got a 5-year deal. Year 2 years in a row, you the best in the league. So you're like, okay, year 3 here. I need a new contract. I need new money. No. Finish your contract, then come holler at me. And I'll make you rich again. But like I said, that's what Brady was really smart at. He never took number one in the
top
league.
money. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he always took the good money. It was good money, but it wasn't top money that still left teams flexible. Where they can go fill up other holes in their roster. So I think that's the real deal with him, and that's what I think he was the most smart for doing. And that's why that's why I would say, if you want to call him again, he was just a good businessman. That's why he's playing 43 now. What is he, 43?
45. The man
45.
45.
Is that the longest anybody ever played football?
Say again?
Is that the longest any other quarterback played?
Yeah, it has to be. There's no way. I mean, I'm gonna look it up, but I'm pretty sure 23 seasons for an NFL quarterback. I think that has to be a record.
What a Montana, because I remember he was past the Niners too, right? I don't think he won that many. I mean, he played that many seasons, so.
Who?
He had a better Super Bowl record. I think he was 6-0, baby. Woo!
Who we talking about?
Montana.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man.
That's the only old person that Peyton didn't play that long.
7 rings. I think it's pretty. The GOAT title for Brady has been solidified. Howie
says, Bills, Eagles, Super Bowl 57. I agree with that 100%. The Bills are that team over there, because I think all those other teams, what's that, the West, where they got the Broncos, KC, who else is in that division? What is it? The Broncos, KC. Is that the one with the Saints too?
I'm not sure.
The Broncos division. I know they got 4 good quarterbacks. Oh yeah, the Chargers, the Broncos, and the Las Vegas.
Sorry, I started reading comments. I didn't hear what you said.
Yeah, I was just thinking that division. They have the Russell Wilson, the Broncos, the Chargers, the Raiders,
and the Kansas City Chiefs.
And Kansas City Chiefs, yeah. That division, they're gonna just beat each other up.
Yeah, I mean, probably one of the most fierce divisions in all of NFL history. Nobody knows who's going to win. I mean, everybody wants to say the Raiders because Devontae Adams adds great depth for Derek Carr and the Raiders. But I mean, then we have Kansas City, who's going to be playing with Tyreek Hill. So how is Patrick Mahomes going to look without one of his favorite weapons?
That's another one that everybody thinks is going to be an easy transition. I don't believe it is either. I know they still got Kels, but Tyreek's speed, that's just something you don't coach. You gotta put 3 people over him because he's just that fast. That's not a coaching point. You can coach your slow corner all you like. You know what I'm saying? What, you're gonna coach him to be 25 yards off the ball and he's gonna catch a little 5-yard, curls and take it off because you still can't catch him anyway. That's
it's the yards after the catch for Tyreek Hill. I mean, you don't have to throw the ball 40 yards. You could dump the ball 8 yards and just watch him extend it for another 20. Like that's just his game. So
yeah. I think that helps
big
Tua.
transition for Casey.
And I think Tua just got heaven sent, to have Waddle and Waddle's already lightning in a bottle, and then you add Tyreek. They're going to be probably the most explosive duo in the league. That's where I put my money there. I'm definitely picking one of them up in my fantasy team.
I think it was a little premature to say Tua is like an MVP conversation. I was hearing that a lot on social media when Tyreek Hill went to Miami. I think it's really too soon to say for Tua, but
I think Jalen's better than Tua.
Yeah, I think Jalen's better than Tua as well.
I just feel like Tua's just missing that athleticism part. He had a little.
Didn't Tua take Jalen's job in Alabama?
Yeah, no, but like he took it over at the end of the season. Like he took it over that championship game, and then the next year, he was a better thrower. But you're talking about guys that are 18 years old. You know what I'm saying? He was a better thrower at that time, but he wasn't athletic. Jalen was like started true freshman. He was more athletic, so that's why Alabama got there. And then he had a rough first half of a championship. Tua took it over, but then Jalen came in and won for them when Tua got hurt. Then he left, and he was his best quarterback in college. He had some of the best stats ever in college football. While Tua was right in the bench. So who made the right decision? Was it Nick? Or was it, what I'm saying? Like, was Jalen just smart knowing, okay, you guys don't think I'm better than Tua? I'm going to go to OU and show you that I'm better than Tua, put up 5,000 yards, 60 touchdowns. Like those numbers are ridiculous. Like, those are big time numbers. So, I don't know. I just think that Tua just don't have it. But having, like I tell people, like, you can have a good, serviceable quarterback and give him a bunch of weapons, and he's going to look good. Look how Kirk Cousins made his money. He's not the greatest quarterback. Kirk has choke moments all the time,
Yeah.
But the more talent you put around him, he's going to have those 4,000 yards passing. He's going to get those wins here and there, It's just, he's a choke artist. So,
yeah.
See, it's going to be a very interesting season this year. But, yeah, we're at an hour and 20. Make sure you guys hit that like. Go follow Ruth the Truth on all her social media platforms. They are definitely in the chat. And any final words, Ruth, before we get out of here?
I really appreciate you bringing me on to Bird Gang and to talk NFC East. I'm really excited for both of our teams. We're definitely going to be in the top of the NFC East as well as the NFC as a division. I think we have a pretty big chance to dominate. So I'm excited for both of our teams. Give me a follow on Instagram. I like to go live on there a lot at Ruth the Truth, and I'm pretty active on Twitter as well. Ruth the Truth with 3 H's on the end. And yeah, just stay locked in. Have a great season, everybody. Good looking fantasy.
Yeah, to all you Cowboy fans, make sure you go lock in on my girl Ruth. She be putting in that content. I did notice that you do go live on Instagram.
Yeah, I like to go live on Instagram. It's fun, especially when I'm at practice or anything Bucs.
Like, what do you think is the difference from YouTube and Instagram? Like,
I honestly haven't really taken the time to like dive.
You have more followers over there.
Yeah, I think YouTube could be, it's more dynamic in a sense, but Instagram is just more simple, just to go live and to do reels and things like that. I think you just get quicker traction on Instagram, but I mean YouTube is just as effective, even more.
Yeah, that's good. I've had YouTube for a long time. I've never did one live on YouTube. I mean, not YouTube, Instagram. I've never done one. I just use it to post shows.
Yeah. Well, whenever you just have something on your mind or there's some breaking news and you just kind of want to reach out to your community, just Instagram Live is a really fun
I'm going to try it. I think, I might, because I got a lot of good followers over there too. But it's just more about
people love the lives. People really tune into live. They like to comment. They'll share.
I like doing this, one-on-ones with people. You know what I'm saying? And imagine we doing this hour and 20. And I'm like, hey, you want to go on Instagram and go do another hour with me? Like, no one's gonna say yes to that. I'm like, no.
Yeah, that's why we gotta figure out how to get Instagram plugged in with the StreamYard with all that jazz. We gotta figure that out.
On a mission.
Yeah. Right now. But thank you so much for having me on. I had a lot of fun chatting it up with you.
Yeah, definitely fun as always. And you guys, like I said, Eagles winning the Super Bowl. The NFC East is about to be put back on the map. And like I always say, fly, Eagles, fly. We out. Peace.